What's good, kings and queens? Hope everyone's doing alright. This week's video is on every single Ring Magazine knockout of the year. The awards of the knockout of the year started in 1989, so we got a lot to unload, but I can fit this in one video. With that being said, let's start the video. For 1989, this would be between the 32-0 IBF champion Michael Nunn and WBA champion Zambu Kambe. Fortunately, Zambu was stripped of the WBA title, making this fight over the mandatory opponent Harold Graham. Nunn would knock Zambu out at 1 minute 28 seconds of the first round. After falling short against Julian Jackson, Terry Norris would get back up and have a chance to fight for the WBC junior middleweight title against John Mugabe. Mugabe having the reputation of his power and his punch resistance, as Hagler had so much trouble taking him out 2 years prior. Norris would knock Mugabe out 2 minutes 47 seconds in the first round.
Il destro terribile di Terry Norris, John Mugabe alla tappeto. Stavolta Ben difficilmente ce la farà a sentire in piedi il conteggio. L'arbitro è dell'out. Terry Norris è il nuovo campione del mondo dei
In 1992, this award will be tied with Akinobu Hiranaka versus Morris East and Kenny McKinney versus Welcome Nishida. Akinobu was unknown to the boxing world as he traveled to Mexico City to face a great Edwin Rosario for the WBA title. This was supposed to have been a tune-up setup fight to face Julio Cesar Chavez on a massive stage, as Chavez was the main event. Akinobu would score the massive upset, stopping Rosario in the first round to become, I believe, the second Okinawan world champion and the third from Japan to pick up a 140-pound title. In his first defense, he was up against the 19-year-old Morris East. A lot on the line for Akinobu for some big money fights, as he is the only champ in Japan at the heaviest weight class. Very tight on the scorecards coming into the 11th. Morris would knock Akinobu out at 1 minute 47 seconds. Due to the knockout, Hiranaka had an intracranial hemorrhage, which resulted for him to immediately retire from boxing. The tie of the year was contender Kenny McKinney traveling to Italy to fight the undefeated Welcome Nishida. Scorecards were tight, both guys visibly worn. Nishida got the better of McKinney at the end of the 10th. With the momentum coming into the 11th, he will put McKinney down. McKinney would turn his back on Welcome, which should have resulted in an immediate stoppage. However, Steve Smoger ruled it a knockdown. Welcome would try to put McKinney away, punching himself out in the process to leave himself open for McKinney to put him away right before the final minute.
Gått hela vägen. Det är magnifikt. Och så träffar då en sitta med höger. Och så träffar McKinney klockrent med höger hand. Och det här är slut. Det är fullständigt slut. Den kommer aldrig upp till 100 nedslagen. Och räkningen är på 9.
Og Steve Smoger er nesten desperat der han teller over den sita. Og her kommer han.
Two of the hardest punchers of the decade. What do you expect? Someone's getting knocked out and knocked out brutally. McClellan would be that guy to put Jackson away in the 5th round.
Can McClellan finish him off? He's down again. He's not going to make this, Bobby. He's not going to make this. Julian Jackson doesn't know it's over.
George Foreman pulled off the impossible, becoming the oldest heavyweight champion, knocking Michael Moore out with a perfectly set up shot in the 10th round after being very down on the scorecards. Unfortunately, I will get a bogus ID claim despite being well within fair use, so instead, here's a clip from a Japanese documentary on this fight where they followed George Foreman around during the lead up to the fight and fight week.
この試合で何を得たいのかと私は尋ねた。
For the first time, getting into the ring and winning the title is the only thing I'm after.
あなたは
Since the crew was restricted from shooting the ring, they shot the host of the documentary reacting as the fight was taking place. Here's his reaction with the reaction of others in the crowd. You can see the utter and raw excitement. The host's reaction is absolutely priceless. Before we dive back in, be sure to like to help the rest of the good old folks see this video, and if you're new, subscribe, because there's a huge amount not subscribed, viewing instead of subscribed. I can say now, YouTube has officially shadow banned this page. I don't know for how long, but I'll do my best to get things back to where it was, and I greatly appreciate everyone to join in. Thanks for taking the time, and let's get back to the video. Fresh from being dethroned by pound-for-pound star Pernell Whitaker, Julio Cesar Vasquez would have a chance to fight to regain his title he had lost months prior against newly crowned champion Carl Daniels. Carl was comfortably ahead in the scorecards leading up to the 11th round. He would get hit with a shot he did not see at all as Julio kept the left hand low out of Carl's field of view, with Carl unable to make the count. Eloy Rojas, the WBA and lineal featherweight champion, was making his 6th defense against the 2-1 underdog Walfredo Vasquez. Walfredo is the father of the former champion Walfredo Vasquez Jr. After back and forth action, Vasquez would find his footing and deliver a bomb to Rojas. Rojas unable to recover, and he will brutally get put away for Vasquez to become the new champion. This was Gaddy's 3rd defense of the IBF title. Rojas was giving Gaddy all types of trouble. At a certain point, it looked like Gabriel was on the verge of stopping Gaddy. However, Gaddy would power through and continue to fight fire with fire until he caught Gabriel cold, flooring him to the canvas. Gabriel would not make the count. This fight would also be named Fight of the Year as well. After the whole controversy with the WBC title and the Garcia situation, Roy was awarded the WBC title after vacating it to move up to heavyweight to face Buster Douglas, which will be canceled.
The fight finally takes place under unusual circumstances as Hill surrendered his version of the light heavyweight championship 10 months ago to Darius Michalczewski in Germany, and Roy Jones's governing body, despite his title belt, has identified him as a, quote, champion in recess, whatever that means. So there is no official title at stake tonight.
Roy would deliver a brutal body shot knockout on Hill, making it the first knockout loss of his career.
So far, it's Jones's power over Hill's jab. Whoa! Right to the body, down. Unheard of! Unheard of! Only the 3rd time Hill's ever been down. He's holding the kidney area on the right side.
Undefeated heavyweight hopeful Derek Jefferson was up against Maurice Harris. Despite Maurice's record of 16-9, he was on a 7-fight win streak and was one of the main sparring partners of heavyweight champion Lennox Lewis, clocking in 4 camps and 100 rounds of sparring with the champion. Maurice came in overconfident that he can take whatever Jefferson throws at him because of the mindset that he was taking better shots and sparring against Lennox Lewis. Jefferson would teach Maurice a lesson that no matter what, anybody can get knocked out at heavyweight. Before becoming a Hall of Fame caliber trainer, Robert Garcia was a hell of a fighter who became the IBF Super Featherweight Champion in 1998. In his 3rd defense against the undefeated Diego Corrales, he will receive his first loss of his career. Garcia will move up in weight, and in his first fight back, he will be up against the tough Ben Taki of Ghana. Ben, the bigger, stronger guy, would stay in the fight, giving Garcia a lot of trouble. Taki, becoming more offensive in the second half, would deliver a knockdown in the 9th, and then he will put Robert away in the 10th round.
Left hook! Oh, that was a corker of a shot from Ben Taki. Garcia's down. I don't know whether he's going to make this. It's over! What a win for Ben Wonder Taki!
In their first fight, Lewis would get knocked out by Ramman. Lewis fighting tooth and nail for an immediate rematch with Ramman, trying to not fight Lewis as he had agreed it would take place within 150 days. Lewis took Ramman to court and won, forcing the rematch. Lewis would two-piece Ramman in the 4th round to regain the heavyweight title.
They're telling him not to counterpunch.
Boom! Will Ramman get up, or have the tables been turned? It's over. Lennox Lewis got revenge.
The most anticipated fight in the heavyweight division for many years, a lot of pressure from Emmanuel Stewart urging Lewis to finish the fight, as Tyson was actually catching him with sneaky shots that would have dropped anyone on any other night. Lewis would finally deliver in the 8th round, putting Tyson away, just shortly after Tyson had landed a big sneaky uppercut, the same one he had landed on Buster Douglas.
He got the Buster Douglas at the end of the 8th round, and that's going to be perhaps the end of the fight. It'll take some courage for Mike to get up from that shot. 7, 8, 9. He's out. Lennox Lewis knocks out Mike Tyson and banishes him from the upper stratosphere of the heavyweight division.
Rocky Juarez, who is a rising talent at featherweight, would be up against Antonio Diaz in an exciting high punch volume fight.
Toweling off, they'll have to wait for between rounds. There goes the mouthpiece. Piece out of Chilo Diaz. This guy's got some chin, Chilo Diaz. Juarez been more active here. Nice left hook. Great action. Left hook that's scored by Juarez to the
Rocky would deliver a beautifully set up knockout towards the final minute in the final round of the fight.
final round. Oh, left hook upstairs and down goes Diaz. He's waving it off. No count. It's over.
One of the most shocking and devastating knockouts of the decade. No one saw this coming, as Roy was a huge favorite to beat Tarver, as the views were he would be at 100% after his previous training camp, which was dedicated to trimming muscle weight off to make light heavyweight after fighting at heavyweight. Tarver would knock Roy out in the 2nd round.
Only Lou DeVal ever knocked him down. Jones may not get up, and he makes it up.
It's over.
Jay Nady stops the fight. What a statement by Antonio Tarver.
This knockout was possibly one of the earliest viral videos on YouTube. In the Battle of Undefeateds, Alan Green would face future contender final star Jadon Codrington. Green, within seconds of the 1st round, would deliver one of the most brutal knockouts of the 2000s.
And here's Green. He promised to go inside, and he stung, and he has rocked Codrington's world and left. And it's off. It's over. Over in 18 seconds. Alan Green shocks the world.
Nick, he said he'd be aggressive from the start. I didn't believe him. He proved what he said he meant.
Calvin Brock would become one of the best heavyweight prospects to be in the mix for a heavyweight title shot and bring the title back to the States. Calvin would have the opportunity to have a small tune-up fight on a pay-per-view leading up to his title elimination bout against Timur Ibragimov. Brock would put Lawrence away in the 6th round.
Blocks it, pushes the hand down.
Beautiful. Oh, there is the knockout shot there by Calvin Brock.
And immediately, referee Jay Nady calls in the medical people.
In the early 2000s, Vic Darchinyan was the baddest man in the lower weight classes. He was a boogeyman. However, this was a boogeyman that everyone wanted to fight because he drew crowds and money. He was up against the unknown Nonito Donaire. A year prior had vanquished the brother of Nonito, Glenn Donaire, which Darchinyan had broken Glenn's jaw, which was caused by an elbow. This was a revenge fight, Nonito actually moving down from super fly to flyweight to face Vic.
I hit Vic with a good punch back then, and I couldn't hurt him. I could only hear him go, oh. But I told him, if you hit him with those kind of punches, you'll knock him out.
Nonito would shock onlookers and Vic himself by his unusual style and amazingly fast hands, then shook the world in the 5th round, giving Vic his first loss of his career. This would also be ruled upset of the year by Ring Magazine.
They're working well. Oh my, look out, Darchinyan down for the first time.
After Miranda's loss to Pavlik, he moved up to super middleweight. In his return, he would get a knockout against Henry Paras. His real test would be against contender star David Banks. Miranda would brutally put Banks on the ropes in the 3rd round.
Actually, Pascal's next opponent. There's a big right hand. Holy cow! David Banks is halfway out of the ring. What a knockout!
Hey! 9, 10, it's over. Hey! Go back to the corner.
After Manny's big upset win against De La Hoya to cement his status that this win was not a mirage of a perfect situation, he went up against the lineal and ring junior welterweight champion Ricky Hatton. It was a dominating performance from the opening bell, with Manny knocking Hatton down twice. As the fight was beginning to calm down in the second, Manny would unleash a massive left hand, flooring Hatton in the final 10 seconds before the bell. Once again, I'm going to receive a phony claim despite being well within fair use, so here's a reaction in the Philippines of the knockout that was shot by John Havalana. Link to his Vimeo will be in description. The shortly awaited rematch, a gift to hardcore fight fans. The first fight, Martinez shocked many onlookers, giving Williams all he could handle. Williams will win on the scorecards rather wide, but this would set up a rematch later down the road, sooner than expected, as Martinez would capture the middleweight title against Kelly Pavlik, a title that Williams was trying to get himself, as he was supposed to face Pavlik a year prior before the fight was cancelled and Martinez was a fill-in. Martinez out of nowhere would shock the boxing public by knocking Paul Williams out in the 2nd round. He would earn Knockout of the Year as well as Fighter of the Year.
Good left hand, and down goes Williams. I think it was a right hook. Right hand, Williams through the left, Williams down.
He's not getting up, guys.
Not getting up.
That is the knockout of the year, if nothing else.
Nonito Donaire moved up and was set to face unified champion Fernando Montiel, who just became unified a year prior in his upset victory against Hasegawa in Japan. This was Donaire's 2nd fight at bantamweight and his HBO debut. Donaire would not disappoint on his debut, and he would drop Montiel with a perfect left hook. Montiel looked done for and just barely made the count, which the fight could have been waved off. However, the ref gave the benefit of the doubt as he is the champion, and Donaire would swiftly finish him off. The knockout that shocked the entire world, if the world wasn't already shocked as is when Manny got knocked down legitimately for the first time in many years. Both fighters would taste the canvas as the momentum was turning towards Manny. Manny would rush in with his hands down. Marquez, who trained for this exact moment, would catch Manny coming in and floor him. This would be named Fight of the Year as well as Knockout of the Year. This was Dawson's first fight back after his loss against Andre Ward. Stevenson got back up in the ranks after his devastating loss against Darnell Boone. After securing his position, he will avenge his early loss and knock Boone out in their rematch. On this stage, this was Stevenson's first fight at light heavyweight, making Dawson the favorite coming into the fight. Stevenson would defy the odds and shock everyone, knocking Dawson out in the first minute of the first round to capture the WBC, ring, and lineal light heavyweight title.
Land that body shot at Will. It's going to take some more work. Down goes Dawson on a spectacular left cross, and Chad Dawson is very badly hurt by what was a sensational shot. He has wobbly legs as he backs up to the rope, and the referee's going to stop it. Michael Griffin stops it in the 1st round. Chad Dawson is violently upset by the stoppage.
In late 2013, Carl Froch would defend his IBF and WBA title against undefeated Commonwealth, British, and WBA Intercontinental champion George Groves. Groves would shock onlookers by dropping Carl for the first time since the Jermaine Taylor fight in round 1. It was a highly contested match till in the second half Groves began to fade and Froch finally got him in the right place to make his move. Groves, who was defending himself, was not given a fair shake as the referee prematurely stopped the fight. This bad stoppage sent shockwaves through the UK and it created a huge demand for a rematch. So big that it ended up selling out Wembley. 80,000 came out to this highly anticipated rematch, making it one of the biggest UK fights in a long while. After a highly contested first half, Grov was handling himself a bit better in the second half. However, Froch was able to set him up and floor him out of nowhere towards the end of the 8th round. The ref not really bothering to give a count, waving the fight off almost immediately.
Digs in deep, sucks it up, and gets it! Wow! Right hand has destroyed Groves! It's waved off already! Charlie Fish saw it up! What a shot!
2014 and 2015 was actually a very competitive year for best knockouts. I remember covering this years ago in my year-ender video from then. However, for 2015, Canelo Alvarez's KO of James Kirkland would take the award.
Right uppercut continues to land. There's a perfect straight right hand, and Shorely's going to stop the fight. What a performance by Canelo Alvarez.
So this is only going to go two ways. Best case scenario, Amir Khan starts fast, doesn't get distracted like he usually do, thanks to Virgil Hunter being on him, to where Khan can finish the fight with the least amount of scares and score an upset decision. The last scenario, he starts fast, gets distracted, and has a massive lapse in concentration, resulting him to get flattened by Canelo. I was ringside at this fight, on Amir Khan's side of the ring. Virgil kept on telling him, keep on circling the ring, do not set your feet. And he was doing that and having success. He made a mistake and set his feet and got hit a couple times, where Hunter in the corner told him to stop setting his feet. The next round, he is literally yelling at him, don't set your feet. Guess what happens 5 seconds later after that? This man sets his feet. Canelo is like, yes, finally. And Khan comes crashing down. You can see me in the replay just in utter shock. Mostly because this is the first fight I have ever been to where someone had got laid out in that fashion. This was a fight on paper guaranteed that someone is going to get knocked out. Curtis Stevens, a big puncher, David Lemieux as well. This was for the WBC Continental Americas title and WBO Intercontinental title. After both going at it with the intentions of knocking each other out, Stevens was trying to be slick and give Lemieux a different look, as he is not good at tracking his opponents down, cutting the corner off, and appears to be rather one-dimensional. From the looks of it, Stevens tried throwing a check hook while Lemieux was already loaded with a much more compact hook. Despite Stevens being the faster guy, Lemieux had better timing and was much more compact with his shot, landing before Stevens, resulting in him to get floored.
Out cold. And out cold. Knockout victory. Lemieux got what he was looking for on a perfect right-hand shot.
This was the first fight of the bantamweight tournament. Payano was a reputable name that proved to be a very difficult fighter to face due to his style. Very rough and dirty tactics, which resulted him to dethrone the long-reigning champion Moreno and beat former Olympian Rashid Warren, giving him his first loss. This was Inoue's second fight at bantamweight and his biggest test at the moment in the weight class. Very shockingly, Inoue would knock Payano out in the first round. In 2018, Luis Ortiz came close to pulling off the win against Wilder, where there was a controversial moment where Wilder was given quite a bit of time to recover and get his legs back, resulting in him to get back into the fight and stop Ortiz. The following year, Wilder would face Ortiz in a rematch after a conservatively fought 6 rounds on Wilder's end, resulting for Ortiz to be up on all judges' scorecards, 2 judges only giving Wilder 1 round. Wilder would set up a brilliant finish to the fight, blinding Ortiz with the flickering jab to launch a short straight right hand, knocking Ortiz out. Like the Canelo Khan fight, this should be expected. However, Cruz's chin did hold up, taking a wide range of shots, which resulted him to get overconfident. At 29 seconds, Cruz throws a jab, hook, and a lead right off the ropes. The lead right is parried away. Leo then throws the same lead right immediately again from the same angle to be parried the same exact way at the same location. Then throws immediately the same lead right from the same angle, and this time Davis had timed and locked him in, then got him out with a counter uppercut, flooring him. It's like the dude wanted to get knocked out. When you watch this whole sequence take place, it makes no sense to do the same thing like that against a fighter with the high ring intellect of Davis. However, this resulted in a brilliant highlight reel knockout. This was a knockout 3 rounds in the making, Rosado having to take a little beating to set this one up. It was so apparent that you can hear from ringside before the knockout that Rosado was going for the counter right. Which just a second later, after you heard that from the crowd, he got Bektemir out of there with a counter right.
Use that word earlier. Ooh, big shot! Okay, Rosado just put him flat on his face. It's a knockout of the year contender from Game King Rosado. Rosado knocks him out with an overhand right.
This was really an amazing fight that all rested in the final round. Wood needed something big in the 12th round in order to get a draw or a razor-thin decision win. Conlon would decide to go toe-to-toe with Wood in the final 2 minutes, which backed Michael up to the ropes to get caught with a shot he didn't parry nor saw for him to be out on his feet, and Wood to give the extra security shots which knocked Conlon out of the ring. The ref getting a good look at Conlon upon falling out, as this is now a 20 count. After a good look, he waved the fight off.
Exactly what he needed to do, what I was asking him to do, and he's going for broke, and he's having success. It's over! It's all over after a minute and 20 seconds of the final round.
In Junto's second fight at Superfly, he would face Andrew Maloney for the vacant WBO Superflyweight title on the Haney vs. Lomachenko undercard in Las Vegas. He would outclass Andrew the entire fight, then deliver a brilliant finish, leveling Maloney, giving him mainstream notoriety. Even though I am well within fair use, I will receive a bogus copyright claim that is complete abuse of the copyright tool on the platform. Anyways, this would be the final round in the final 30 seconds, which really made it a perfect finish to the fight. And on top of that, this is every knockout of the year from the year 1989 to present day. For more videos like these, be sure to like, share. If you're new, subscribe to Patreon for Patreon-backed projects and early access. This project being on the tail of Floyd Mayweather versus Ricky Hatton. I'm Sancho, and I'm out.